I want to take you back to the competitor comment that we had and which was mentioned in the first week, which opened up many insights for us. From website structure to content promotion, it was a moment of discovery for us and allowed us to build traction in an area we didn't think we could compete. So ultimately, that competitor comment helped us to rank for a search term, online marketing, and still 1 year later gets us close to just over 1,000 new visitors a month to our website. So for a small business, this was huge for us. URL structure was one of the first things we noticed that could have an influencing factor on traffic. So the type of traffic this influences is search traffic, otherwise known as organic traffic, or what we call SEO or search engine optimization traffic. All of those jargon words basically mean the same thing. So the comment appeared on the article like so. Remember, like I said in the penny drop moment video, I had written this article roughly 5 years prior to the comment, and at the time I had completely forgotten about it. So the content within the article was pretty much mediocre, to say the least. The URL structure was incorrect, 0 social shares on the page, and very little page authority. So when looking at the original blog post, the word blog was actually stripped out of the URL string. And the reason we left it out of the URL was because we wanted the URL string to be at the root of the domain. So the root, just so you understand, means that it's a start of the URL. So just straight after .coza. So back then it was webgrowth.co.za/internet-in-south-africa-today. So the reason we never had the word blog in the URL was because 3+ years ago, we never really reported on our own blog, or actually we never reported at all on our own blog. It definitely was a case of the mechanic not looking after his own car. But in my defense, I guess we were testing the effectiveness of keeping the URL simple and stripping out all of the folders of the URL, so i.e. keeping the blog URL on the root of the domain. It was also the legacy thinking I had from SEO and probably just a bad habit that I had. So traditional SEO has always been a very black and white tactic, which meant both analytics data and the user behavior got sidelined to ensure we ticked the SEO box. So, however, today, analytics data and user behavior are both very much intertwined into the new way of SEO thinking. So from an analytics perspective, we now need to be reporting on individual blog post performances. The start of this process is to insert a unique identifier into the URL, so we can isolate it inside the Google Analytics reporting. The word blog, in our case, is what we chose, so we can isolate that correctly. Once we made the change, we were able to start tracking every blog post within Google Analytics, and this became very important to understand and for you to understand. So if you do have analytics, go check it out now and just try and see how you've structured that. Now, this is where it gets really important to grasp. So before we changed the URL, we decided to boost the post on Facebook. We did this purely because we were excited that a competitor tried to sneakily advertise on the post. So we thought, well, if they liked it, maybe some of our followers would like it too. So the boost in Facebook I think it was roughly about 100 Rand. We got quite a few post likes and shares, which we then picked up the data using BuzzSumo. And then after the boost, we then changed the URL to /blog and then the rest of the URL string. So we checked again on BuzzSumo, not thinking that we weren't expecting any change in terms of data, but we did. We found that social engagement had been stripped from the Facebook Open Graph data. And this is when we start to realize that there could be something within URL structure and the data that it holds within that social data. So we then started this journey of discovery and found a new respect for URL structure.